All right, guys, I have a very special guest. This is one of the more interesting parts of the broad collecting hobby. Sitting next to me is Will Stern. He flew out from New York. He was a little reluctant to come to the National. He wasn't sure. Should I be here? Should I not? Do people want me? And we want him. So can we give Will a round of applause for being in Chicago? Let's give him a round of applause, guys. All right, so Will, introduce yourself. Sure. He runs social for Rally. He's a social media guru. Who are you? What is Rally? And let's start with that.
Sure. So I run content for Rally, and basically what Rally is it's a platform to invest fractionally. You can buy real equity shares in the rarest collectibles on earth. So that's everything like, for this audience, we've got a T206 Honus, the Nuns Wagner, a million baseball cards and basketball cards, sports cards, right? But we've also got a literal Triceratops, the Declaration of Independence. So it's like rare whiskey. So it takes kind of the perception of collectibles and really widens it to a pretty insane variety of things. Right now, we've got about close to 500 assets on the platform, and they're all securitized by the SEC. So it's like, you sign up for Rally, and it's like you're signing up for a brokerage like Robinhood or whatever. And you can track your performance and trade market hours and everything like that.
Sweet. So you just kind of brushed over some pretty insane household, especially for the room, like a Honus Wagner. So
I'm a little desensitized.
What is, it's crazy. So what is the grade of the Honus Wagner, and can people still invest in it? Like how does it work? If I wanted to invest in Honus Wagner, how do I do that today?
Sure. So as with everything, non-investment advice, but the Honus Wagner. So ours is an SGCA, and it's the Nuns Wagner, which has an amazing story. It's basically this guy bought it like 50 plus years ago, kept it in a lockbox. He died, left it in his will to his sister, who was a nun. Then his sister and the group of nuns in Baltimore. Yeah, you like you like that?
Yeah, the content guy, he's here now.
This group of nuns in Baltimore opens this lockbox, sees this card with a note that says, I'm paraphrasing, but it basically says, I hope that this card will appreciate in value over time. This was around 2010. And Sister June, shout out. She, I believe, was the treasurer. So she went over to the computer, Googled Honus Wagner card, and pretty quickly found out that they had something special. They auctioned it off, I think that year in 2010. They got a couple $100,000. And then in 2019, I believe, Rally acquired it. We brought it through our process of securitizing it and doing kind of our version of an IPO. Hundreds, thousands of people have now owned equity in that card. It's up. I could look right now at what it's actually trading at, but it's up substantially from when we initially launched it. And to answer the previous question, our app is a lot like Robinhood or a stock trading app. Where what time is it right now? 2 something. So the market's open right now. So you could go on to rallyrd.com, or the app is just Rally, and you can buy shares just like you're trading a stock, right? So bid and ask trading, and those are real equity shares. They go into your portfolio. So that's the story of our Honus, and all, there's 479 other stories like that behind all the incredible assets. So
what's one collectible, or maybe you have a couple in your head, but what's something that maybe is coming that you could share with people? Maybe you can't. What's something that you would invest yourself in? Well, give us some insight into your own brain. And maybe
I'm gonna take your question and just change it.
Okay, go ahead. What do you want? What do you want to answer?
Definitely can't talk about anything that I would invest in.
All right, my bad.
But let's see. So for me, just walking around the National, which has been really awesome. I'm really glad I ended up coming because it's like nothing I've ever seen. For me, I'm super interested in like the obscure, weird stuff that like you have to Google. You know what I mean? Not like stuff that you don't recognize. You're like, what is this? You know what I mean? I think someone who has a collection that really reflects this is Ravel, who was here. You know, I was looking at his stuff yesterday. He's got Hugh Hefner's Viagra prescription bottle, right? So for me,
Weird.
not for Rally, but for me, that's the stuff that I love finding, and you know, and that's the fun of collecting for me is the crazy stories behind it, the obscure stuff, and you know, I collect just stuff that is fun and has a story that's what's worth it to me because I've seen a lot of the other stuff. I think, like I said, I'm a little desensitized to some of these incredible baseball cards and whatnot, but yeah, for me, I love the obscure stuff.
So what we'll talk about Rally's museum, but we're talking about you. So I have a few questions. Will, if you follow his Twitter, what's your Twitter?
It's at Will Stern _.
Okay, so if you follow Will's Twitter, he's constantly posting like really cool stories around nostalgic video games, DVDs. Like he's a very unique collector. So do you have any insight in, I mean, I would call those kind of alternative collectibles at this point. What are some of your favorite
alternative investments, but then alternative?
Sure. What are some of your favorite video games that you're looking at that you've got in your own collection or you're looking to add? What should the people look out for?
Again, because I don't collect for like the idea that I can flip it and make money. So it's not even like you should keep a lookout for this. But for me, WADA started grading PC games recently. So I hopped on and bought a bunch of backyard baseball games because that's super, I don't know, to me, that's like the first thing I think of. So I've been doing a little bit of that. You know, I think a lot of the modern games are fun. I think it's really great talking to audiences that are predominantly card collectors and hearing what they think about like other categories like video games and things that are kind of tangentially related, right? Like WAD is owned by collectors, just like PSA is owned by collectors. And seeing where that crossover is, especially like, you know, I think a lot of card collectors really like buying sports video games, like, you know, Madden or like a 2K with a cover of their favorite athlete, if it's Kobe, if it's, you know, Durant, whoever. But yeah, so that's what I've been into recently. I mean, I'm just, you know, my eBay like algorithm, if you can call it that, is just absurd. Right now, it's got a lot of Windows 95 promotional merch is what's popping up.
That's awesome. No, like you said, it's whatever you like. First off, love the backyard baseball, and I guess all the sports. That's
the best. I'm looking for some backyard football too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, all those games are incredible. So I could see myself starting to collect that. I'm the same way. Like when you start to see just childhood nostalgia, that's the stuff that's fun to collect. And it does, like, I think you touched on something really important, like in this hobby and also just in life, right? Like you want things that are valuable, the whole intrinsic value. But for me as a collector, one of the most important things I think been happy in this hobby is if you buy stuff you genuinely like, it doesn't matter if it goes up or down. It's just important to you. So I think that's something that's helped me out and something that you kind of touched upon. Totally. To completely pivot, can we talk about, so as Will was talking about Rally, they've opened a museum, and you correct me if I'm wrong here. They've opened a museum where patrons can come in and see some of this unbelievably unique stuff. Can you talk through some of that?
I'd love to. Yeah. So we actually had a museum before COVID, then obviously closed down, and we actually moved offices and spent really long time building out the museum that just opened about a month ago. And it's a beautiful space. I actually can do a virtual kind of tour of it in a second. But it's a beautiful space. It's in downtown New York. It's in Soho. Really, it's on Broadway. So it's like we've got this incredible amount of people coming in on the weekends, especially just foot traffic. People that have no idea, forget about Rally. They have no idea about collecting. And they look through the window and they say, why is there a Triceratops skull and a 1955 Porsche Speedster there? next to a T206 Honus and, a full PSA 10 first edition Pokemon set. What's going on here? And they walk in and then they learn about collecting, rally, investing in these things. And that's one of my favorite parts of the museum has been watching people go from what the heck is this to like, oh, wow, no. So wait, how can I get involved in this? How can I, just watching it resonate in real time is really special. Should I go through the little?
Why don't you show people a virtual tour and get a sense of what this looks like? I'll tell you what, the first thing I would go look for is that dinosaur. I still cannot believe you guys. It's the most complete. You guys will see. It's a complete Triceratops head. And maybe I'm just a little boy up here, but.
All right, so I'm going to take us on a little virtual tour. Shout out Shane Levine.
Let me turn the computer. Are you good?
Shout out Shane Levine for making this ridiculously cool
website.
Yeah, like website design, everything.
Shout out to Shane Levine.
So here we go. So, you can see it's like we've got this Triceratops, the Porsche, the Warhol. This is a screen print of Marilyn Monroe, the iconic image from her film Niagara that Warhol produced. And you can click in and see information about it, buy shares, and that would kind of lead you back into the app. But yeah, it's like you can really look and see the kind of crazy stuff. Well, I screwed that up.
And this is a complete mock or a real mock of like you're in the museum. This is what it looked like. Everything is in those places.
Things are
they've moved around a little.
Yeah, it's all the stuff is there.
Got it.
But it's a little bit moved around.
Okay.
But
what is that, a NBA championship? What is that?
That is that's actually the Lombardi Trophy. That is not even an asset on Rally. I'll just say that everyone at Rally is a collector, like to the extreme. So our office is completely packed with like like the most insane collectibles that have nothing to do with the platform, just because we're all basically hoarders. And so it's not going to be in the museum virtually, but in our podcast studio, which is in the museum, there's a Theranos machine, like a real Theranos machine. So there's just a million stuff like that. So the Lombardi Trophy, yeah. So
the answer is you might walk through the museum and see stuff that there's no way of you ever seeing it. It just happens to be there because you guys are like super collectors.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize that I don't even know who owns it. I assume it's our co-founder, Rob, but there's a sealed Etch-a-Sketch, which is probably worth like $50, but who the hell thinks to buy that? It's like the original Etch-a-Sketch from the 60s. So it's just an insane, like it's somebody said this the other day where it's like walking into a collector's fever dream. It's like ramped up to 11, or just like Disney World for that. And it's really like, it's like, if you like cars, cool, we've got the Porsche, but then turn around because you might also want to see the dinosaur. You might also want to see, a sealed video game that's Sign Z. Also, quick thought on video games. If you Google the world record for the most valuable video game ever sold, $2 million for Mario. That was Rally a couple years ago.
All right, there we go. See, there are some big sale prices. So, and I don't know if you have the answer to this or you can answer. How do you guys like vet or figure out what you're buying, what you want to put on your platform? Is it one person's job? Is it a team? Can you talk around that process?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the first thing that we're thinking about, there's a couple things that we think about, right, when we're sourcing assets to bring to our community. And it's kind of a mix of, it has to check the boxes of, is this something that has demonstrated historical returns? That's kind of the boring but very important part, right? Then there's also does this resonate culturally with people that will make them want to invest and feel like they own a piece of something that matters to them, because that's really what our community wants, and what Rally is providing that, like, that on-ramp to own actual equity and pieces that truly matter to individuals, as well as just like the culture writ large. And these are things that, I'll speak for myself, I can't afford to buy any of the pieces myself on the platform. The only possible way for someone like me to get real equity in this stuff is to buy shares. I'd love to own my own T206 Honus, but I don't think it's happening this year or next year, maybe the year after that, but I'm going to need to save up. So yeah, so those are really the two big tenets. And as far as how we source it, in every category we're in, whether that's sports cards, right? Or we've got a million rare books. We've got the first edition Harry Potter is a fan favorite. Whatever category, we work with whoever the leading expert is in that industry. Like, I literally have in my phone the contact of Jeremy Rare Book Guy.
I might need that number.
Yeah. And yeah, so whatever category it is, it's like we're talking to the experts, you know, not only what are they thinking, but, you know, they often will come to us, as well as just generally people know us now and will come to us with things that aren't publicly available. Like, you wouldn't know to find it or be able to find it until somebody says, well, you know what, my buddy does have a basement full of, you know, the greatest, the most valuable concert posters in the world, right? So we have one of the most valuable concert posters. It's Grateful Dead. It's FD26 if you want to get nerdy about it. So stuff like that, where people come to us, the experts will tell us about things that, you know, the public wouldn't be able to get access to. And then, yeah, so through that, and our internal team, you know, does a ton of research on, you know, historical performance, hoping, you know, trying to project trends and fair market value and all that. And yeah, then we acquire it. We, you know, we price it at what we've calculated to be fair market value. And we have our version of an IPO. We at Rally takes a small stake in every asset, so we're incentivized alongside the users. And then after a lockup period, it trades every day, just like the stock market. And something really cool, which I can actually show right now, is that everything on the Rally platform is available for, you know, someone with the money to just offer to buy it outright. And in that's what happened with the Super Mario Brothers video game. The $2 million record-breaking offer is somebody knew that it was the best copy in the world, and they offered $2 million. And then we pulled shareholders. They voted yes, and cash got deposited in their accounts, and the buyer, you know, receives the video game. I'm actually going to show you guys something right now.
I'm glad you just said that, because that literally was my question: is there a limit as to how much you can invest in? Like, let's say I had $3 million, I could just buy it. So that's, hey, all you millionaires out there, get on Rally and you could have some fun.
It's true. Also non-millionaires
too. Everyone's welcome.
So here we've got if you on the screen, we've got a sealed original iPod, and someone submitted a buyout offer and yesterday, I believe. So right now we can look, and this is the live voting.
Oh, that's cool.
So right now you'll see, wow, that is tight.
Woo!
So it's a $26,000 offer. And this is just the shareholders in this asset voting on whether or not they want to take the offer. And that's how these buyout offers go. And it's always, you know, a real kind of driver for the community of excitement of like, oh man, like I own shares in this and I just got an offer. Like, what do I think? And, you know, it's a really cool way to get people even more involved and thinking about it. But yeah, that's a good example that's literally going on right now. And I guess tomorrow morning we'll find out the results.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is the window in which the voting takes place?
So it's a 48-hour window of voting. And then I think we announced it the day after that to make sure everything's right.
All right, that's pretty sweet. So, and then my final question is, do rally investors and like collectors, is there some sort of way that they all, like a community, that they're able to connect with each other? Or is it kind of by chance over social media or just randomly talking to each other?
So there's going to be a form of that coming soon, which we've been working on. But right now it's, Instagram and Twitter is just, it's really, there's a really strong community of rally users that just, it's every day. They're like, oh, what are you buying? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it's like, we're not even involved in that conversation. It's them independently talking to each other because they're excited about it. And it's stuff that they care about. And it's, their real investments. So yeah, on Twitter and Instagram, on Rally RD on Twitter, and just Rally on Instagram is really where those communities live right now. But yeah.
Sweet. Guys, make sure if you haven't looked at their Instagram page, it's one of the better pages out there. It literally looks like an art page. They do such a good job of displaying what collectibles they have.
That's because it's created by a very talented artist who happens to be the co-founder of the company.
What's his name?
Petrozo.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah. Awesome thing to follow. Will, before you close out, is there any final things you want to say or I don't know, what do you want to leave the people with?
No, I appreciate you having me, man. This was fun. And this whole event's been awesome. I've been blown away by so many of the different people setting up and the crazy stuff they have. And it's been a lot of fun.
That is the final question. So I've asked Cyan before, what was your national experience like? He had been to 4. This is Will's first. So you kind of touched upon it. Is it overwhelming? Is it fun? What is the overall vibe of your first national?
I mean, it's hard to not be overwhelmed when you walk into that room. Like, you walk in and it's just, you can't see the back wall because it's just filled with people selling the coolest stuff on earth. But it's just been a lot of fun. It's been really fun to talk with dealers and especially this kind of stuff that I like and I'm drawn to. It's like I'm walking up to these dealers that have really interesting stuff and I'm like, where did you get this? How did you get this? Tell me the story right now. I need to know. So that's been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Like I said, guys, make sure you follow Will, follow Rally. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening.